So we follow through with chapter 26 now in the First Samuel series. Just 4 more chapters and we're done with First Samuel. So here's what First Samuel chapter 26 says. The Ziphites went to Saul at Gibeah and said, "Is not David hiding on the hill of Hakilah, which faces Jeshimon?" So Saul went down to the desert of Ziph with his 3,000 select Israelite troops to search there for David. Saul made his camp beside the road on the hill of Hakilah, facing Jeshimon. But David stayed in the wilderness. When he saw that Saul had followed him there, he sent out scouts and learned that Saul had definitely arrived. Then David set out and went to the place where Saul had camped. He saw there Saul and Abner, son of Ner, the commander of the army, had lain down. Saul was lying inside the camp with the army encamped around him. David said to Ahimelech the Hittite and Abishai, son of Zeruiah, Joab's brother, "Who will go down into the camp with me to Saul?" "I'll go with you," said Abishai. So David and Abishai went to the army by night. And there was Saul lying asleep inside the camp with his spear stuck in the ground near his head. Abner and the soldiers were lying around him. Abishai said to David, "Today God has delivered your enemy into your hands. Now let me pin him to the ground with one thrust of the spear. I won't strike him twice." But David said to Abishai, "Don't destroy him. Who can lay a hand on the Lord's anointed and be guiltless?" "As surely as the Lord lives," he said, "the Lord himself will strike him, and his time will come and he will die, or he will go into battle and perish. But the Lord forbid that I should lay a hand on the Lord's anointed. Now get the spear and water jug and that are near his head, and let's go." So David took the spear and the water jug near Saul's head, and they left. No one saw or knew about it, nor did anyone wake up. They were all sleeping because the Lord had put them into a deep sleep. Then David crossed over to the other side and stood on top of the hill some distance away. There was a wide space between them. He called out to the army and to Abner, son of Ner, "Aren't you going to answer me, Abner?" Abner replied, "Who are you who calls to the king? It's like, and who is like you in Israel? Why didn't you guard your lord, the king?" So David said, "You're a man, aren't you? And who is like you in Israel? Why didn't you guard your lord, the king? Someone came to destroy your lord, the king. What you have done is not good." "As surely as the Lord lives, you and your men must die, because you did not guard your master, the Lord's anointed. Look around you. Where are the king's spear and water jug that were near his head?" Saul recognized David's voice and said, "Is that your voice, David, my son?" David replied, "Yes, it is, my lord, the king." And he added, "Why is my lord pursuing his servant? What have I done? And what wrong am I guilty of? Now let my lord the king listen to his servant's words. If the Lord has incited you against me, then may he accept an offering. If, however, people have done it, may they be cursed before the Lord. They have driven me today from my share in the Lord's inheritance, and have said, 'Go serve other gods.' Now do not let my blood fall to the ground far from the presence of the Lord." The king of Israel has come out to look for a flea, as one hunts a partridge in the mountains. Then Saul said, "I have sinned. Come back, David, my son, because you considered my life precious today. I will not try to harm you again. Surely I have acted like a fool and have been terribly wrong." "Here is the king's spear," David answered. "Let one of your young men come over and get it. The Lord rewards everyone for their righteousness and faithfulness. The Lord delivered you into my hands today, but I would not lay a hand on the Lord's anointed. As surely as I valued your life today, so may the Lord value my life and deliver me from all trouble." Then Saul said to David, "May you be blessed, David, my son. You will do great things and surely triumph." So David went on his way, and Saul returned home. So Saul is still pursuing David, and it seems like he's gotten to a point where they almost are in the same vicinity. And while it is weird that they shouldn't be pursuing David but lying asleep, I don't understand why they were inside the camp sleeping. But David, when goes out to the place where Saul is, and rather than Saul pursue David, it seems like David now has ambushed his pursuer. And the same response we saw earlier, I believe it was in chapter 22, that David refuses to touch the Lord's anointed. Abishai seems like his commander, a right hand man now, and he says he's very eager to just finish this off. And you can imagine, we have been pursued, attacked, ridiculed, and finally, this is the man who is responsible for all our harassment, lying down, vulnerable before us. And it would be very natural for this commander to want to just kill Saul right there because of what Saul had put them through. As David said, he had caused him to leave his inheritance and run around like a fugitive. But look at David's honor for the Lord's chosen one, the king of Israel, who was Saul. And he says that he would not, and he repeats, I will not. The Lord forbid that I should lay a hand on the Lord's anointed. Now get the spear and water jug that are near his head, and let's go. So rather than attack Saul, he preferred to show Saul just how much he valued his life because of the fear of the Lord. And David keeps proving that it is not the fear of men that drive him, but it's the fear of the Lord that causes him to make decisions. The Lord delivered you into my hands today, but I will not lay a hand on the Lord's anointed. As surely as I valued your life today, so may the Lord value my life and deliver me from all trouble. So as we've seen in the previous chapter, David is learning to trust God to deliver him and to fight his battles. And we've just come from chapter 25, where Abigail reasons with David concerning taking the life of Naboth, Abigail's husband, into his own hands. But David listens to her, luckily, and he does not avenge himself by killing Naboth for the wrongful treatment that Naboth had, the way that David had been treated by him in a wicked and obviously very mean manner. And now we see another chance for David to kill off Saul, and because of the fear of the Lord, he chooses not to lay his hand on him. And we see Abishai, he must have been very disappointed. And doesn't that happen sometimes when the opportunity to strike back is so near and so sweet, and we don't, because we know better, because that's not what the Lord would want. Saul, on the other hand, seems to be thinking more about what people are thinking and are telling him than what the Lord is saying. He says, as David says to him, now let my lord the king listen to his servant's words. If the Lord has incited you against me, then may he accept an offering. If, however, people have done it, may they be cast before the Lord. They have driven me today from my share of the Lord's inheritance. And I have said, go and serve other gods. Now do not let my blood fall to the ground far from the presence of the Lord. Now the king of Israel seems to be listening to his advices, and not to God. And David makes that distinction for him very clearly. And Saul seems very repentant, and he says, I have acted like a fool and been terribly wrong. Remember, this is not the first time that David is showing him that the Lord is indeed protecting me and keeping me from killing you, because clearly the Lord is on my side. And evidently, from the deep sleep that even his own guards do not hear when David and his men creep forth, is surely the Lord who is protecting him. And despite this being not the first time that Saul has ended up in the hands of David rather than David in the hands of Saul, he still has pursued him a second time and gotten in trouble for it, near death in this case. And so Saul acts very saddened or repentant for what he has done, and hopefully it is genuine, and they go their separate ways. David goes on his way and Saul returns home. Now the protection of the Lord is still very evident here. And David is still leading his men, is sort of teaching them to listen to God and not their instinct of the flesh to destroy the enemy. And vengeance belongs to the Lord keeps coming up as a theme in the book of First Samuel, that we do not run after your enemy to kill them, but God takes care of us while he deals with our enemies. So that's another opportunity for us to learn to trust God. And David and Abishai, as much as they went to the camp to steal or take the property of Saul, they just were proving over again that David had the protection of the Lord, and the Lord had handed Saul over into his hands. And if David did not trust and did not respect God, he would have killed Saul a long time ago. So somebody was in trouble here. Abner. Abner was a commander of Saul, and he did not protect his king. Well, when the Lord has shut a door, he has shut it, and when he's opened it, he has opened it. So despite Abner being a guard or a commander, whatever he is, he's not able to function because the Lord put deep sleep over him. So at the end of the day, it's the Lord who rules. It's God who's in control. So we see next on chapter 27 what we learn from the pursuit of Saul. Well, as David is pursued by Saul. Stay tuned.